So I was gonna start this review with a riddle, but turns out I suck at riddles. So I'm not gonna do it. Hi everyone! Episode 3 of Falling Skies, Badlands. It was quite an emotional episode. I want to first start with some quick thoughts. I know it was a minor thing in the episode, but it's something that really stayed with me. It was the riddle that Ben and his friend were telling each other. I suck at riddles, but I thought it was really cool. The whole like he, her, hero, heroine, I was like, this is genius. Also, just as a side note, I always get a kick out of seeing Ryan Robbins in the show because it feels like part of Sanctuary is still living on somewhere. And finally, there was no Cochise this episode. Boo. But now, on to some of the bigger parts of the episode. The creepy baby is back. And I'm still not liking the storyline very much. I feel like, you know, I'm sitting down and I'm watching this cool sci-fi show and it's like, oh, let's put a little horror in this and freak Sandrine out. Yay. I have to say, if I was Anne, I'm not really sure how I would react because on the one hand, it's not like it's just a creepy random baby because then you just run the other way. It's your baby. There's part of you that's like, I have to protect her. But then there's part of you that's like, this is freaking me out. Like, what the hell is going on? And then I thought it was interesting that Lourdes thought it was maybe postpartum disorder, which is a perfectly legitimate reason. But her reasoning of like, I've done all the routine tests and nothing weird showed up. I'm like, there are aliens that exist right now. How are routine tests enough to rule out anything weird? I'm just saying. Moving on from the creepy baby. Hal, now that he realizes that he's been going to see Karen, thinks he might be the mole and wants to tell Tom about it. Now, if he does tell Tom about it and people find out about it, he's not going to be in a really good position. And he was in on the last plan, so if he had been the mole, the plan probably wouldn't have worked. Which goes back to me saying last week that I think Hal is a little too obvious of a mole, so I don't think it's him at all. Another big part of this episode is that we get a new character, Lieutenant Catherine Fisher. And we find out that the president is still alive. Not Tom, the actual president of the United States. What? Part of me was like, oh, but I like Tom as a president. Can't he just stay the president? Please? Unfortunately, that leads to the most heartbreaking storyline of the episode. And that's crazily, she gets a metal bar stuck in her head. Oh my god, how heartbreaking was this? But it gave so many good moments that I have to mention. First of all, I hate the writers for making me care about a character just to have her die at the end of the episode. It's like, come on, I didn't really care about her that much until now. And then now I'm like, oh, we see so much more of her. I'm like, oh, I kind of like her. Yeah, she's dead now. Great, thanks. Two, I think we all see a lot of Pope being, you know, arrogant and always contradictory and always wanting to do his own thing. It was so nice to see how much he cares for his people. It really was a different side of him and I love that so much. I mean, the whole thing at the end when she asks him to go to Disneyland and he's like, I can't go to Disneyland because I got into a fight with Goofy. Come on! How brilliant is this? I mean, heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's like typical Pope. Also, I loved Matt, who stayed with Crazy Lee the whole time. He cared for her so much. It was such a sweet sort of interaction and relationship they created. I really, really love that. It felt like a good reminder that shit happens in this world, I guess. And finally, the end. We knew the aliens would eventually make a reappearance because they hadn't the whole episode, and they get there at, of course, the worst possible time. But I think the worst part of it all is that the episode's last frame ends on the baby, who kind of looked like she's happy. So you have to wonder, did the aliens do something to her? Is she involved with them? Is she related to them? Did she bring them here by sending out a signal? Who knows what? But that last image does not bode well for them. at all. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about this episode. Like I said, a really emotional one. I really loved it. And of course, I can wait for next week's episode. But I'd love to hear what you guys thought. Do you have theories about the creepy baby? Did you find the whole Crazy Lee, Pope, Matt storyline as sweet as I did? Anything else that I didn't mention that you want to talk about? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would be awesome if you could click that like button. And of course, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my other Falling Skies reviews or any other reviews that we're doing on the channel, or interviews even, who knows. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to talk about this episode with you, and I'll see you next week. Bye! So we can finally talk about this new season of Falling Skies because first 2 episodes have finally aired and we got so many answers. It just sets up this season perfectly.